Have you ever felt as if you carried an invisible weight on your shoulders? Something you cannot name but which is always present, limiting your ability to shine fully? There is an ancestral force, a sacred energy that traverses dimensions and eras, capable of dissolving those dense layers that obscure your true essence. This force is the violet flame of Saint-Germain, and today you will be guided through a profound journey of activating this transmuting energy that lies dormant within you, awaiting only your conscious permission to awaken and transform every aspect of your existence. The violet flame is not just a mystical concept distant from your daily reality. It is a living, pulsating frequency, vibrating in the seventh dimension of consciousness and manifesting through the sacred commands you will learn to invoke with mastery. Saint-Germain, the ascended master who mastered spiritual alchemy during his countless incarnations on earth, left as a legacy this powerful instrument of liberation for all those who seek to transcend the limitations of the material plane. When you understand that this sacred flame is, in fact, an extension of divine light itself, adapted to specifically dissolve the dense energies that keep us trapped in cycles of suffering, you begin to perceive the transformative potential being offered at this moment. Many live for years carrying repetitive patterns of pain, relationships that drain their vitality, financial situations that seem never to resolve, or simply a persistent feeling of being disconnected from their higher purpose. These external manifestations are merely symptoms of deeper energetic blockages, crystallizations of past experiences imprinted on your subtle bodies like stains that obscure the natural flow of vital energy. The beauty of the violet flame lies in its unique ability to penetrate all these layers, no matter how ancient or deeply rooted, and literally transmute their frequency from dense to luminous, from limiting to liberating. Imagine for a moment that every negative thought, every unprocessed emotion, every limiting belief you acquired throughout this life and possibly other incarnations has left an energetic residue in your auric field. These residues accumulate like layers of dust on a mirror, distorting your ability to clearly see who you truly are. The sacred commands you are about to receive function as decrees from your higher self, directed to the intelligence of the violet flame, specifically instructing it on which areas of your existence require priority transmutation. When you pronounce these commands with focused intention and an open heart, you are not simply repeating words. You are activating codes of light that resonate through all your cells, DNA, and Akashic records. At this very moment, as you allow these words to penetrate your consciousness, something has already begun to move within you. Your decision to be here, to dedicate this sacred time for your own elevation, has already signaled to the universe that you are ready to release what no longer serves you. Saint-Germain walks by your side on this journey, not as a distant figure on some inaccessible celestial plane, but as a loving presence that connects directly to your heart through the frequency of the violet flame. He intimately knows the challenges of the human experience, for he walked the same path you now tread, and his compassion manifests through this tool of grace he bestows upon us. Breathe deeply and allow yourself to feel the sacred anticipation of this moment. You did not arrive here by chance. Every experience that brought you to this point, every challenge you faced, every moment of doubt or pain, all were necessary steps preparing you to consciously receive the activation that is about to occur. The violet flame recognizes your readiness and already begins to expand in response to your openness, even before you pronounce the first command. This is the nature of divine energy. It always responds to the slightest movement toward the light. always amplifies the smallest spark of genuine intention for transformation. Now, find a comfortable position where your body can fully relax, allowing every muscle, every fiber, every cell to enter a state of deep receptivity. Gently close your eyes and begin to direct your attention to your breath, observing the natural flow of air entering and exiting, bringing renewing oxygen and carrying away all that your body no longer needs to carry. With each exhalation, you release a little more accumulated tension. With each inhalation, you invite the presence of the violet flame to draw even closer to your physical reality, creating a luminous bridge between the spiritual world and your bodily temple. Visualize now, above your head, a radiant sphere of violet light that pulsates with its own life, gently spinning clockwise. This sphere is the portal through which Saint Germain's transmuting energy manifests directly to you. Observe the shades of this violet light. There are nuances of deep purple, luminous lilac hues, silvery reflections that shimmer and dance within this sacred sphere. This is not ordinary light. It is an intelligent frequency that knows exactly what you need at this specific moment of your journey. Allow this sphere to descend slowly, passing through your crown chakra at the top of your head, and feel a gentle cascade of violet energy beginning to flow through you. The violet flame begins its work of physical transmutation by first touching your nervous system. Those intricate communication networks that carry not only electrical impulses, but also cellular memories of stress, trauma, and overload. Mentally pronounce the first sacred command. I invoke the violet flame to dissolve all tension stored in my nervous system, transmuting anxiety into deep serenity. Feel how the violet energy travels through every nerve, every synapse, every neural connection, bringing a sense of calm you may not have experienced in a long time. The areas of your brain that have remained in a constant state of alert now receive permission to rest, to trust that you are safe, to release the patterns of hypervigilance that have depleted your vitality. The violet light now descends to your throat, that center of expression that has so often been silenced or repressed. How many words remained trapped in this region? How many unpronounced truths created energetic knots that manifest as physical discomfort? The violet flame envelops your thyroid, your vocal cords, the entire delicate structure of this area, dissolving the blockages that have hindered your authentic self-expression. Declare with inner conviction, I activate the violet flame to purify my voice, releasing all fears of speaking my truth and transmuting forced silence into sovereign expression. Feel your throat expanding, opening, as if something that was compressed finally found space to breathe freely. Continuing its graceful descent, the transmuting energy reaches your physical heart, that tireless muscle that beats approximately 100,000 times a day, pumping life through every blood vessel in your body. But beyond its mechanical function, your heart carries deep emotional records that directly affect your cardiovascular health. The violet flame envelops your heart in a protective bubble of violet light, beginning to dissolve residues of hurt, disappointment, and sadness that have crystallized around this vital organ. Invoke the command, I decree that the violet flame transmutes all pain stored in my physical heart, restoring perfect rhythm, harmonious circulation, and full vitality. Observe how your heartbeat may become more regular, more peaceful, as if your heart is finally remembering its natural and sacred rhythm. The violet flame's journey continues through your digestive organs, that second brain where you literally process not only food, but also life experiences. Your stomach, intestines, liver, and pancreas have worked hard to metabolize not only physical substances, but also the dense energies of situations you swallowed without being able to fully digest. The violet light penetrates every cell of these organs, accelerating the elimination of both physical and energetic toxins. Pronounce: I command the violet flame to completely purify my digestive system, transmuting toxins into pure energy and restoring my ability to absorb only what nourishes my being. Feel a lightness beginning to settle in your abdominal region, as if an old weight is being dissolved and carried away by the violet current. Descending even further, the transmuting energy reaches your pelvic region, your center of creativity and personal power. This area of the body frequently carries blockages related to sexuality, repressed creativity, issues of power and control. The violet flame does not judge, does not analyze. It simply transmutes everything it encounters into higher frequencies. Here, it works to dissolve deep-seated shames, internalized guilt, and fears related to your creative and manifesting ability. Declare: I activate the violet flame to release my original creative power, transmuting sexual and creative blockages into abundant vital flow. Observe the sensation of gentle warmth, of energy beginning to circulate freely where there was once stagnation. Finally, the violet flame reaches your legs and feet, these structures that keep you connected to the earth and carry you through your life's journey. Your feet touch the ground countless times a day, but you rarely offer gratitude or conscious attention to them. The violet energy massages every muscle in your legs, dissolves crystallizations in your knees that may be related to inflexibility, and penetrates deeply through the soles of your feet, creating a renewed connection with Earth's energy. Invoke: I command the violet flame to strengthen my physical foundation, transmuting instability into solid grounding and renewing my sacred connection with Mother Earth. Feel roots of violet light extending from your feet into the soil, anchoring you firmly while simultaneously allowing dense energies to be drained into the earth, where they will be naturally recycled. Having purified the densities of your physical body, the violet flame now turns to the more subtle layers of your existence, where reside the emotions that have defined so many of your experiences and choices. The emotional body is like an inner ocean, with deep currents that often remain hidden from superficial consciousness, but which powerfully influence every decision, every reaction, every behavior pattern you manifest. In this inner ocean, there are crystal clear waters of joy and love, but there are also pockets of turbulence where unprocessed emotions circulate in repetitive whirlpools, trapping vital energy that should be available for your conscious creation. The violet light begins to penetrate these emotional waters, first illuminating the emotions that float closest to the surface of your consciousness. Perhaps it is a recent irritation that still resonates in your field, or a frustration with a situation that seems to have no solution. The violet flame does not try to suppress or deny these emotions, for each carries an important message about your needs and limits. Instead, it transmutes the dense energetic charge attached to these emotions, allowing you to observe them clearly without being consumed by them. Pronounce the command: I invoke the violet flame to transmute emotional reactivity into conscious response, releasing patterns of irritation and transforming frustration into deep understanding. Feel how the agitated waves of your inner ocean begin to calm, not because the emotions have disappeared, but because you now observe them from a centered point of balance. Diving deeper into the waters of your emotional being, the violet flame encounters layers of sadness that may have accumulated over years, perhaps decades. This sadness does not belong only to this life, but carries echoes of ancestral losses, of separations that deeply marked your family lineage, of farewells that were never properly grieved. Every unshed tear created a crystallized deposit of pain in your emotional body, and these crystals act as prisms that distort your perception of reality, making you see the world through a filter of melancholy, even when the sunlight shines brightly. The violet energy envelops each of these crystals of sadness, applying loving warmth that gently melts them, allowing the trapped energy to finally be released. Declare, I activate the violet flame to dissolve all layers of accumulated sadness, transmuting grief into serene acceptance and transforming melancholy into peace that transcends understanding. Allow yourself to feel any emotion that arises at this moment, for the very act of feeling completely is part of the release process. There are also, in the depths of your emotional ocean, powerful currents of anger that may have been suppressed because you were taught that expressing anger was inappropriate or dangerous. This repressed anger does not simply disappear by being denied. It ferments in the depths, becoming resentment, bitterness, or occasionally exploding in disproportionate reactions that surprise and embarrass you. The violet flame recognizes that behind all anger lies a legitimate need that was not met, a boundary that was violated, an aspect of your being that asked to be honored but was ignored. By transmuting the energy of anger, the violet flame does not erase your ability to set healthy boundaries, but releases the toxic charge that was poisoning your emotional system. Invoke, I command the violet flame to transmute all repressed anger into assertive strength, releasing resentment and transforming bitterness into clear discernment about my sacred boundaries. Observe how a sense of serene empowerment begins to replace the tension that suppressed anger created in your energetic field. In the even deeper layers of your emotional being, where the light of ordinary consciousness rarely penetrates, there exist primordial fears that were imprinted on your psyche during moments of extreme vulnerability. The fear of abandonment, rejection, annihilation, insufficiency. All these fundamental fears create an unstable foundation upon which you try to build a life of security and meaning. The violet flame descends like an experienced diver into these dark depths, carrying its own light to illuminate the corners where fears hide and multiply in the darkness. When the violet light touches these ancient fears, something remarkable happens. They begin to reveal the false beliefs upon which they were built, the distorted interpretations of past experiences that fed them for so long. Pronounce with conviction, I decree that the violet flame dissolves all fears rooted in my emotional body, transmuting terror into trust, anxiety into tranquility, and revealing the truth that I am eternally sustained by the divine presence. Feel how the temperature of the deep waters of your inner ocean begins to warm with the presence of this transmuting light. The violet flame now works specifically with the emotions related to your bonds with other people. How many energetic threads exist connecting you to relationships that have ended, to people who have departed, to family dynamics that continue to drain your vitality even from a distance? These emotional cords function like tubes through which energy flows in both directions, and often you find yourself inexplicably exhausted or emotionally reactive because you are being influenced through these invisible connections. The violet energy travels through each of these cords, not to cut them abruptly in a way that would cause trauma, but to transmute them into pure light connections that respect the energetic sovereignty of all involved. Where there was unhealthy emotional dependence, now there is appreciation from a distance. Where there was toxic entanglement, Now there is space for love that does not consume. Declare, I invoke the violet flame to purify all my emotional bonds, transmuting codependency into loving autonomy, possessiveness into mutual freedom, and transforming desperate need into conscious choice of connection. Visualize how these cords, once opaque and laden with dense frequencies, now shine with translucent violet light. There is also a dimension of emotional healing that involves forgiving yourself for choices you regret, for words you cannot retract, for opportunities you let pass by. Self-judgment creates a particularly cruel emotional prison because you carry both the prisoner and the jailer within yourself. The violet flame envelops your inner critic with infinite compassion, showing it that its original function was to protect you, but that the harsh methods it now employs cause more harm than good. By transmuting the energy of self-judgment, you do not become irresponsible or inconsequential. Instead, you develop the ability to learn from past experiences without remaining trapped in them. Invoke the final command of this section. I activate the violet flame to dissolve all cruel self-judgment, transmuting paralyzing guilt into mature responsibility, toxic shame into genuine humility, and releasing myself to move forward with lightness and integrated wisdom. Allow a wave of self-compassion to flood your heart, recognizing that you always did the best you could with the awareness and resources you had available at each moment. Ascending now from the emotional depths to the realms of thought and expanded consciousness, the violet flame penetrates the mental dimension where your beliefs, concepts, and thought patterns literally create the reality you experience. The mind is an extraordinary tool, capable of solving complex problems, creating works of impressive beauty, and connecting seemingly disparate points to generate transformative insights. However, this same mind can become a prison when it gets stuck in loops of repetitive thoughts, when it unquestioningly accepts limiting beliefs programmed during childhood, or when it identifies so completely with its mental contents that it forgets the vaster consciousness observing all these thoughts. The violet light begins to illuminate the corridors of your mind, first revealing the thoughts that occupy the central stage of your daily consciousness. Observe how certain themes repeat tirelessly: worries about the future, ruminations about the past, judgments about oneself and others, endless to-do lists that need to be completed. These thoughts create a constant background noise that consumes an enormous amount of energy and prevents you from accessing the deeper levels of intuitive wisdom available to you. The violet flame does not try to forcibly silence your mind, but transmutes the compulsive quality of these thoughts, allowing your mind to finally rest in the space between thoughts, where true clarity resides. Pronounce. I invoke the violet flame to transmute mental noise into conscious stillness, releasing obsessive thoughts and transforming mental agitation into alert serenity that perceives without attachment. Feel how the speed of your thoughts naturally slows, creating refreshing intervals of silence where before there was only incessant, frantic movement. Exploring more deeply the architecture of your mind, the violet flame finds the fundamental beliefs that function as the underlying operating system for all your thoughts and perceptions. These beliefs were installed so early in your life that you may not even recognize them as beliefs, but simply accept them as the way things are. Beliefs like, I am not enough, the world is a dangerous place, love means self-sacrifice, success requires arduous struggle and suffering. All these fundamental programs shape your experience of reality in ways you rarely consciously question. The violet energy penetrates each of these belief structures, not violently destroying them, but gently dissolving them. Like the morning sun dissolves mist, revealing the true landscape that was hidden behind the distortions. Declare with authority, I activate the violet flame to dissolve all limiting beliefs installed in my subconscious, transmuting scarcity programs into abundance consciousness, beliefs of unworthiness into recognition of my inherent divinity, and releasing all narratives that no longer serve my highest evolution. Allow yourself to question an old belief you always accepted without examination, and observe how it begins to lose its power when exposed to the light of questioning consciousness. The violet flame now works with the thought patterns you inherited from your family lineage and the collective unconscious. You are not just an isolated individual. You carry within your mind echoes of all those who came before you, their struggles, their victories, their unresolved fears, and their unfulfilled aspirations. These ancestral patterns can manifest as unexplained limitations, recurring sabotages just when you are about to achieve a breakthrough, or aversions and attractions that make no rational sense in the context of your current life. The transmuting energy recognizes that you are not responsible for carrying the weight of previous generations and begins to release these inherited patterns, honoring the journey of your ancestors while simultaneously asserting your right to choose a different path. Invoke. I command the violet flame to transmute all limiting mental patterns inherited from my lineage, releasing vows of poverty, contracts of suffering, and beliefs of impossibility that have been transmitted through generations, restoring my complete mental sovereignty. Visualize streams of violet light extending through time, touching your ancestors with compassion, and simultaneously severing the threads that transmitted limiting programs to you. Elevating even further into the subtle dimensions of your being, the violet flame now reaches the spiritual body, where you exist as pure consciousness beyond all temporary identities and roles you play. At this level, the blockages are not thoughts or emotions, but something more fundamental. A sense of separation from the source. A forgetting of your true nature as an extension of divine consciousness manifested in human form. This forgetting was not an accident or failure. It was a necessary choice so that you could fully experience the journey of individuation, the adventure of discovering who you are through contrast and exploration. However, a point comes in the evolution of every soul where forgetting has served its purpose, and remembering becomes the next essential step. The violet light touches the deepest center of your being, that immutable point of consciousness that witnessed every moment of your existence without ever being affected by the dramas and traumas of incarnated life. Pronounce the most powerful command of this journey. I decree that the violet flame removes all veils of spiritual forgetting, transmuting the illusion of separation into direct experience of unity, dissolving soul amnesia into total remembrance of my divine origin, and activating my conscious connection with the I Am presence that lives in me and through me. Feel an expansion in your perception, as if the walls of the room where you are sitting become transparent, revealing that you exist simultaneously in multiple dimensions of reality. Germain now approaches more intimately in your consciousness, and you may feel or perceive his presence as a vibration of absolute freedom, alchemical mastery, and infinite compassion for all beings who still struggle under the weight of self-imposed limitations. He whispers directly to your spiritual heart, "You were never truly limited." These chains were merely shadows projected by the light of your own consciousness forgotten of itself. The violet flame you have invoked is not something external to you, but a frequency of your own divinity that you finally gave permission to fully manifest. Every command you pronounced was not a supplicating request to external forces, but a sovereign decree from your higher self, reorganizing the energies within your own multidimensional bodies. Declare the final truth. I am the violet flame in physical manifestation. I am the transmuting fire that Saint Germain ignited within humanity. I am the bridge between heaven and earth, spirit and matter, limitation and infinite freedom. Remain in this recognition for a few moments, allowing the magnitude of this truth to settle into every cell of your being. The spiritual integration occurring now is not something you need to force or fabricate. It is a natural unfolding when blockages are removed and your true nature can finally reveal itself. You are being recalibrated to operate at a higher frequency, where synchronicities become common, where intuition flows clearly, where you naturally attract experiences that resonate with who you truly are, instead of constantly fighting against currents that pull you in unaligned directions. The violet flame has completed its work of deep transmutation, but it does not abandon you now. It remains as a constant presence available whenever you consciously invoke it, a faithful ally in your ongoing journey of awakening and self-realization. As you remain in this elevated state of consciousness, bathed in the violet luminosity that permeates every aspect of your being, the time has come to gently begin integrating all that has been transmuted, healed, and revealed during this profound journey. Integration is as important as the transformation experience itself, for it is through conscious integration that the energetic changes that occurred on the subtle planes anchor into your physical reality and manifest as tangible changes in how you live, choose, and express yourself in the world. Breathe deeply, feeling how the air entering your lungs now carries the frequency of the violet flame, oxygenating every cell with this renewed vibration of freedom and expanded possibility. Begin to bring your attention back to your physical body, but realize that this body is no longer the same as it was when you began this practice. Something fundamental has changed in how energy flows through you, in how your cells vibrate, in how your auric field radiates. Gently move your fingers and toes, reconnecting with your physical extremities while maintaining the expanded consciousness you accessed. There is no rush in this return. You are bringing the treasures of the spiritual realm back into the material realm, and this process deserves to be honored with full presence and gratitude for what has been received. The violet flame continues to shine within you, not as something that needs to be maintained through constant effort, but as a permanent activation that is now part of your energetic signature. As you gradually open your eyes, observe the environment around you with new clarity. The colors may appear more vibrant, sounds sharper, and you may notice details that would usually go unnoticed by your conditioned attention. This heightened perception is one of the collateral gifts of the deep energetic cleansing you have just experienced. When the filters of density are removed, reality reveals itself in its multidimensional richness, and you begin to perceive the subtle magic that was always present, but which your consciousness previously lacked the capacity to register. Allow yourself a few moments to simply be present in this new quality of perception, without needing to do anything or go anywhere, just being a conscious witness to the miracle of being alive in this body, on this planet, at this specific moment of cosmic evolution. The transformation you experienced today is just the beginning of a continuous process of conscious evolution. The violet flame is not a tool you use once and then forget. It is a spiritual practice that deepens and expands with regular use. Each time you invoke the sacred commands, you access even deeper layers of transmutation as new layers of density emerge to be released, as you become capable of sustaining increasingly higher frequencies. Consider creating a commitment to yourself to consciously work with the violet flame daily, even if only for a few minutes. You can pronounce the commands in the morning to set the frequency for your day, or at night to transmute any density you may have accumulated during your daily interactions and experiences. The more you work with this energy, the more natural it becomes to instantly invoke the violet flame in moments of challenge, transmuting reactivity into conscious response at the very moment difficult situations arise. There is also a dimension of service in this work that may not be immediately obvious. When you elevate your own frequency through regular practice with the violet flame, you automatically contribute to the elevation of humanity's collective consciousness. Your purified energetic field affects all people you interact with, even if they have no conceptual awareness of what the violet flame is. You become a beacon of transmuting violet light simply by your presence, offering those around you the opportunity to resonate with a higher frequency if they are ready for it. This is a powerful form of spiritual service that requires no dramatic words or actions, just the consistent commitment to keep your own frequency as clear as possible. Saint Germain reminds us that true change in the world begins with the inner transformation of individuals who then become natural catalysts of elevation for all around them. As you integrate this experience into the fabric of your daily life, you may notice changes beginning to appear both in external circumstances and in your internal states. Relationships that no longer resonate with your elevated frequency may naturally dissolve or transform. Opportunities aligned with your higher purpose may begin to emerge in synchronistic ways. Patterns of self-sabotage that once operated automatically may lose their power over you, finally allowing you to move forward in directions that previously seemed blocked. These changes are natural reflections of the transmutation work that occurred at deep levels of your being, now manifesting on the physical plane as reorganized reality. Trust this process, even when changes seem uncomfortable or challenging in the short term, for everything being removed from your life was occupying space that can now be filled by experiences and connections much more aligned with who you truly are. Your journey with the violet flame of Saint Germain is deeply personal, but you do not walk alone. There is a growing community of conscious seekers around the world who also work with this sacred energy, each contributing their own unique note to the collective symphony of planetary transformation. Sharing your experiences, insights, and discoveries with others on this path can tremendously amplify the power of your individual practice. When you articulate what you experienced, you not only help others understand their own journeys, but also deepen your own integration by bringing conscious language to experiences that often transcend words. If you feel inspired to do so, leave a comment sharing what this activation brought to you, what changes you noticed, or what insights emerged during the practice. Your voice matters, and your unique experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to take the next step on their own awakening journey. As you continue your journey beyond this moment, carry with you the awareness that the violet flame is always available, always ready to be invoked, always responding to your conscious intention for transmutation and elevation. You now possess an extraordinarily powerful spiritual tool that can be applied to any situation, challenge, or aspect of life that needs transformation. There is no area of human experience that is beyond the reach of Saint Germain's transmuting energy. Relationships, finances, health, creativity, life purpose, all these domains can be touched and transformed by the conscious application of the sacred commands you learned today. The key is to remember that you are not asking something external to save you, but rather activating aspects of your own divinity that have always been present, just awaiting your conscious recognition to fully blossom. If this journey resonated deeply with you, and you wish to continue exploring practices of spiritual activation, conscious transformation, and connection with ascended masters, consider subscribing to this channel to receive notifications whenever new content is shared. Each video is created with the intention of serving as a portal of elevation, offering practical tools you can immediately integrate into your life to accelerate your evolution. Share this video with those in your life whom you intuitively feel would benefit from this activation, for we are often guided to be messengers of light for specific souls who are ready to awaken. Together, as a community of awakened consciousnesses, we are co-creating a new reality based on frequencies of love, freedom, and authentic expression of the divine potential that resides in every human being. The violet flame burns eternally in your heart, transmuting all that is not love into pure love. You are this flame, you are this transformation, you are the freedom you have always sought, and so it is, and so it shall be, now and forever.